What's going on, everybody? Welcome to DVU Podcast. We always call this show the sports show. Here today with me, I'm Harry Hancock. With me, as always, is Dan Corbett.
How you doing, y'all?
We always call this the sports show, but we don't have Elijah with us. We are changing the name to just SpitBallin here. That's going to be the new name of the show. We're going to go with it. It's a fun little pun, you know. We were going with a couple different options, but that one just seemed to fit best. Elijah is out this week. He is sick. He will be back hopefully next week with our next episode of Just SpitBallin here. And we're going to talk about all the latest things of sports as per usual. So the latest thing that happened, Dan, I'm sure you watched the Super Bowl.
Yes.
And what was your opinion on that game?
Well, by halftime, I wanted to turn the game off. I mean, I felt like everybody else felt that way, you know. I mean, you see a blowout, and when it's against Tom Brady, I mean, like, people, I don't know how others like feel about this, but me, when I watch football, I want to see, especially the Super Bowl, I want to see a good game.
Yeah.
You know, I don't like the Super Bowl with the Seahawks versus Denver that one year.
Yeah,
that blowout. I didn't like it. So, but with this one, I actually was enjoying it because, one, I'm not the biggest fan of Tom Brady. Mm-hmm. I respect Tom Brady, but I'm not his biggest fan.
Yeah.
But you just can't deny greatness because the way he came back, he fought so hard to come back, and then the defense was just phenomenal.
Yeah, the defense turned it up to another level, and I really thought that's what it was going to come down to because both teams had such high-power offenses. Mm-hmm. And it really came down to whose defense wasn't going to suck more, basically. I agree. The games are better when they are a lot closer to blowouts. They're not good. Blowouts are not good for anybody, whether you're looking at it from fans' perspectives, whether you're looking at it for advertisers' perspectives. Because, like you said, you want to turn it off halfway through if it's that terrible of a game. But I mean, I've heard people talking that was one of the best Super Bowl ever, just because that was the largest comeback ever mounted by a team, which is just mind-blowing. I mean, when I think of the best Super Bowl ever, I would think that it would be consistent the whole game. You have just so much excitement that you can't take it. This game, the first half, once you got to halftime, there really wasn't a whole lot of excitement. Yeah. There was really nothing that was like drawing you to watch the game. It wasn't until the second half that like fun things started happening. So, could you really consider this the best Super Bowl ever, or should people just consider it the best ending to a Super Bowl ever?
I would say the best ending because those Super Bowl, like, I don't know if a lot of people remember, but it was a Super Bowl where Tom Brady, I think it was his first, and where it came down to a kick.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Now that's like one of those Super Bowls that it comes down to the last play. Mm-hmm. That's where you classify it as like, oh, this probably is the best Super Bowl ever. But the best ending, I would say, had to be this year. I mean, for a team to come back from 25 points, like, that's hard.
Yeah, that's very hard. Yeah, it's almost too hard to believe.
Yes.
Actually. I mean, when I think of great endings of Super Bowl, and I'm a relatively young guy. I'm 21, so the big one that stands out was a couple years ago when Russell Wilson threw the interception on the 1 yard line or whatever it was. Now, I find it hard to say that was the best ever, mainly just because of the fact that we only wrap up all these games into one play. And, it's a full game and everything like that. So that just for me, from my personal opinion, it's hard to say that it's the best ever when it really only ever comes down. It's the one play that makes the game. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that's where my take is on it. I just thought it was a very, very good Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. Great advertisements. Great halftime show.
Yeah. It was a good. I wanted. No offense to anybody like who likes Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
But I wanted Migos to play. I'm a huge fan of Migos, but Lady Gaga, she did her thing.
Lady Gaga did a pretty good job,
yeah.
and I talked about it in a previous show with one of my buddies. The fact that she caught that football at the end of her song, I had to give her so. I was when she did that, I was literally like, that was one of those moments you were like I can't believe she's gonna do it because it's just so risky. If she would have dropped it, it would have just been all over the place that she bombed that one. Now here's I wrote this question down, and I wrote it down because I heard it a while ago, right after after the Super Bowl happened, and there's a little bit of question behind it. Do you believe that professional football is fixed?
No. Nope. Nope. I'll tell you the reason why. This game, if you look at the Super Bowl, if you watched it, even if you look at the highlights, the first half and the second half, you can see, obviously, it was different. Now, the first half, the Atlanta Falcons, they were running the ball, constantly running the ball,
and it was very, very effective.
And it was effective. Now, obviously, you're not all of your runs are going to be 10 yards, 15 yards, or plus. But if you could just get those little yards, like for example, I think when they were on, I believe, that 33-yard line or something, if they would have.
Oh, where they picked a pass play over the run play.
Exactly. For 3 plays straight.
Yeah.
Now, one thing you don't do, you don't go to you don't go head to head against Tom Brady. You can't try to outshoot him.
You can't go for tick for tack against Tom Brady.
So you try to beat him mentally, which is hard to do, but in order to beat Tom Brady mentally, you just got to do the things that he wouldn't do. And me personally, if I was the coach, I would have said, run the ball, get those 3 yards. So even if we would have been facing 4th and 3, we would have still got a field goal. So we've been up 2 scores. Yeah. And I would have took so much pressure off the defense. But it's but to say that the NFL is fixed, I wouldn't say that, because that's just killing the dreams of little kids that have passion for football and they want to make it. So I don't think it's fixed.
You always hear these questions about sports being fixed, whether it's from, players throwing games, or whether it's from the top down, where it's, from the commissioner, or there's questions like that kind of thing. The only thing I will say, I do not truly believe that football is fixed. The only thing that raises my eyebrows is so the WWE is licensed as an entertainment company.
Exactly.
The NFL is the only sport out of the 4 major sports in America that is licensed as an entertainment company. They're not actually licensed as a sporting, that kind of license. That's the only thing that raises my eyebrows about that whole thing.
Okay. Never knew that.
I do not believe, though, that they are fixed. I'm sure they just used whatever that licensing or whatever it was to get out of something back when they first started. It doesn't matter. I think that, these guys probably have too much pride in what they've done up to that point to do something like that. You know what I mean? It's so hard. I understand money, makes people do crazy things. But it would be so hard to get literally the hundreds of guys that play in the NFL to all agree to basically just swallow their pride and do something, like that. I just think it's too much work for football to be fixed. Well, now, what was my other question? Now, you talked about Tom Brady, how you don't like him.
Can't stand him.
I feel like everybody doesn't like him because they don't have him. Right? Would you agree, or do you just not like the person?
No, I just don't like. I just don't like Tom Brady because, one, I'm a Colts fan, and he kills my team every single year. Yeah. So obviously I'm not going to like oh yeah, Tom Brady for president. But like I said, you have to respect greatness. Like you just I respect him. I respect that. Like I respect his play call. I like the way he plays. I in fact I love it. But him as nah,
not taking him.
Not a big fan.
Now, you hear a lot of talk, Tom Brady's the best ever. You hear a lot of talk that Bill Belichick is the best ever. Would one be the best ever without the other? I don't believe that Tom Brady would be nearly as good if he didn't have Belichick. I think Belichick is probably the whole secret behind this whole deal because that man is just a mad genius. I don't know what it is, but he just always knows what to do in every single situation. Whether it's just running regular, like a small little run play, setting something else up, or if it's just doing a trick play and completely throwing the defense off guard at a time when nobody would ever think to do it. They ran a trick play did they run a trick play in the Super Bowl? Yeah, they did the Edelman pass, right? Edelman always passes. But how do you see it? Do you see it as Tom Brady's the best ever? Or do you see it as Belichick is the best ever?
I would say both. I would say Belichick is the best coach ever because, like you said, like his play calls, just everything he does is just it's crazy.
It's methodical.
It's
and I don't know what it is, but you would think people would like watch him and learn, but people for some reason can't seem to learn his whole thing. The whole idea behind these sports is that these teams adapt to what they're playing. They got a whole week to prepare, and people still can't prepare for him.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to prepare for a team like that with the arsenal that they have. Like, well, not even the arsenal, just the quarterback that they have.
Yeah,
like you can. Matter of fact, I won't even use Tom Brady as an example. If you looked at the first 4 weeks of the NFL of the season, and
for the Patriots,
yes, for the Patriots, and you saw how they went 3-1.
Yeah, they went 3-1
with Jimmy Garoppolo and their like third string quarterback.
Yeah,
and it's all about what system works. Mm-hmm. So because Tom Brady fits that system, he's going to excel in it.
Yeah.
Like you see a lot of people, a lot of football players, they do good in one system, and then when they go to another team and they play in a different system, mm-hmm. they completely like just shut down. Like look at Nnamdi Asomugha. At one point, he was considered the best quarterback in the league.
100%, yeah.
And
he was what, the Raider? He was on the Raiders, and that's why the Eagles got him. He was the best cornerback in the league.
And when he went to the Eagles,
yes, he was terrible.
Yeah, so it's all about systems. It's all about like, do you have that right piece to fit that system?
Yeah,
and make it work. So I would say Tom Brady needs
Belichick. But Belichick needs Tom Brady.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, he was taken. What round was he taken in?
I think like 5th, 6th.
I mean, and it's like Russell Wilson. He was taken very, very late round as well, and they both kind of came out on top. Just maybe it was the system, you know. But Belichick, I mean, he's just unbelievable. I don't understand how he does it.
But I think that's like an advantage of for like players that are drafted like later.
Yeah,
because they have something to prove.
Yeah,
like. I mean, look at I know Dak wasn't like a later draft pick, but
yeah, he was.
Like,
I think he was like third or like third or fourth round or something like that.
But people didn't know about Dak Prescott.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't know about Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
I knew about the Cam Newtons.
Yeah,
I knew about the Aaron Rodgers and all that, but I didn't know about Dak Prescott. And then look at how he's doing for the Cowboys. So.
Yeah, and I mean it also helps when. Even if you take a quarterback, the quarterback position is extremely important. But if you take a guy in a later round, but you already have a team set up around him, you're going to have success. I mean, Dak Prescott, I think we can all agree, is not the best quarterback ever. You know, it's not like hands down this guy is a god. But he has a good enough team around him where he had an amazing running back, he has an amazing receiver, and he has probably the league's best offensive line, at least top 3 best offensive line. Yes. So he was put in a situation to succeed, and that's really all most of these guys need. Even if they're late round guys, they're still professional athletes. They're still, some of the best in the world at what they do, even if they're taken in the latest round they can or the last pick. So good for, Tom Brady's had such a long career, and he's going to keep playing. So he's, 40 years old, and he doesn't show any signs of stopping. So, now, where do you think the Atlanta Falcons are going to be played out next year? How do you see them ending their season next year?
Making playoffs, getting kicked out first round.
Their first round out team.
Mm-hmm. I've so far every team that's done really well in their previous year.
Yeah.
The next year they just sink.
And that's what my question was going to be. What happens to these teams that lose in the Super Bowl that they just can't get it together the next year?
Like I said, system. It's all about systems. Like if you find out how that system works, and once the defense finds out how that system works, it's over. Like look at Chip Kelly. Yeah. Chip Kelly, when he first came in, he was looked at as a god.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, oh man, we have Chip Kelly.
Everybody was trying to go after him.
And then as soon as that first year when Nick Foles had that like spectacular year,
it was like 27-4 or something like that.
Then the next year it just
started bottoming out. People learned, they adapt. I don't know what happens to these guys that the following year they just can't seem to get it together. Even if the other team kind of figures it out, don't you think the coaches would kind of learn from that as well? Let's say that, don't you think the Falcons coaches would be looking out now as to how they can bounce back rather than, sink down even lower? Is it a salary cap issue? Are these players, now that they're getting into the Super Bowl, are they seeing themselves as better than they may be and wanting more money, which we know happens? These guys, they could be no names. They get to the Super Bowl, they need a lot of money. Like, look at Hogan, Chris Hogan. He had that one amazing playoff game. You don't think he's going to get paid the next time his contract is up?
It depends. It depends on who's going to vouch for them. Like, if Tom Brady vouches, say, all right, listen, I'll take a pay cut if you raise his money so that we could keep him here, then he's going to get paid. But as for the Atlanta Falcons, I wouldn't even say it's not going to. I don't even think it's going to be a salary cap issue because, with Julio or Matt Ryan, it probably will because Matt Ryan just won MVP.
Which, do you think he should have won MVP?
Yes. Oh yes, I think it was well deserved because one, they had Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott up there, and I think they had of course Tom Brady, and they had somebody else up there.
Yeah,
but I felt that Matt Ryan should have won, even like after oh man, like the Super Bowl and all that, how whatever happened. Yeah, but I think he should have won because he had a spectacular year. Like he's made some plays, some miraculous plays out of nothing. So Tom Brady, it's like look at the issue with LeBron. LeBron should get MVP every year. Yeah, but they're not gonna give it to him. And same thing with Tom Brady. Tom Brady came back and he went on it
he went on a tear.
Yeah,
he was
and
then
didn't throw an interception until it's 15, 16 touchdown pass. So
now I could have seen Tom Brady winning the MVP if the first 3 or 4 games that he wasn't playing, they would have lost. But because they went into his first week, already 3-1, you said, it's kind of hard to say he's the MVP when they were winning without him. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Matt Ryan just doesn't seem. I don't know. When you get an MVP, you always see it's always a big personality or a super high profile player. Matt Ryan just never struck me as that super high-profile player. He's always kind of kept to himself. There's never been, swarms of media around him. If there's swarms of media at that team, they're almost always at Julio. So, he just never struck me as that guy. But, good for him. He had a great year. Julio had an amazing year as well. I just really want to... For the Eagles, I just really want a good wide receiver one day. I would love one. I
think the Eagles had a chance to draft Julio.
They've had a chance to draft tons of amazing players, and then Julio, a couple picks before they'll pick somebody terrible. Yeah, that's the Philadelphia. That's what we do. We always pick the wrong person when it comes down to our time to pick. And Nelson Aguilar, he can go away for all I care, but we'll see what happens. But I thought it was a good football year. It was an end of a football year, and next year should be pretty good. Good teams coming out. I hope some of these teams that were very good can bounce back a little bit, make it more competitive, because the league right now, it's kind of like NBA. We're going to talk about basketball in a minute. There's your really, really bad teams, and then your really, really good teams, and there's not a whole lot of middle ground for competition. But we can only hope that some of these teams get better through free agency or the draft or whatever it is, and all that. Now, like I said, I wanted to move into basketball. Basketball right now is... You got your upper echelon teams, like I said, and you got your lower echelon teams.
Yeah.
Who is the best team right now in the league, in your opinion?
I'm a Cavaliers fan. Let me just state that first. But I'm going to have to say the Warriors. I mean...
Yeah.
It's no doubt. No doubt.
Yeah,
No doubt at all.
The way they situated everything so that they could have those 4 guys on the team at the same time is... I mean, it's almost mind-blowing.
They gave up a lot, though, to get KD.
What did they really give up?
They gave up, okay. Leandro Barbosa is a good, he's a good backup.
He's a good role player.
Yeah, he's a good role player. They gave up Mo Spates. He's a good shooter, role player, big man. He's a good offensive big man.
Yeah.
And they gave up Andrew Bogut and Harrison Barnes. So that's 4 people for one person.
Andrew Bogut, I think, out of all of them, I feel like Andrew Bogut probably would have had the biggest. He had the biggest effect on the team because they're not a huge team. With Draymond Green being basically their power forward, I'm using quotation marks. They're not a huge, down low presence. So they need somebody big to be down there, defending and rebounding and everything like that. But
exactly.
They did give a lot up for KD, and I think it's panning out pretty well for him. You don't feel that way?
I just want to wait to playoffs because that's where you see these close games. I mean, you see that's in the playoffs. That's where you see the closer games. You don't see the big blowouts. Oh yeah, we expected this team to get blown out by 25.
Yeah.
In the playoffs, that's where you see, okay, it comes down to those last 2 to 3 minutes in a game to decide who's going to be the victor.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, with Durant, with gaining Durant, I think the Warriors lost a defensive presence,
They're like we said for football, it's who can outscore.
Exactly.
It's not so much who's going to stop you defensively. It's just going to be who can outscore each other.
Exactly. But, I mean, I feel as if adding KD is bittersweet because, I don't like KD for what he did, but having KD makes playing small ball even more effective because last year when they tried to play small ball, they would bring what is his name? They'll bring Andre Iguodala in, and they'll play him at small forward, and then move Harrison Barnes down at the 4, and Draymond Green at the center. But
Draymond Green being a center is almost laughable in itself. He's not a center.
Yeah, he's not even a power forward to be honest.
No,
in college he played small forward.
Yeah.
So, but it's just. It's all, like I said, systematic. But now that you have Kevin Durant, who's, even though on the record it says 6'9", he's 6'11".
Yeah, he's a big boy. Yeah, he's big.
He's probably the same, probably an inch shorter than Giannis.
And Giannis, the Greek freak, he's got a bright future. But, I mean, they're not an overly defensive-minded team, and they accept that, and it's all about accepting what you are. Now... Where do you think the Thunder would be if they still had KD with Russell Westbrook going off the way he is?
Number 1.
You think they'd be
number 1? Because I feel as if the reason why I feel this way is because one, if I wish Kevin Durant would have stayed because when Westbrook was up by 3-1, when OKC was up, were up by 3-1 against the Warriors, and they lost. Yes, it hurt. Mm-hmm. It hurt because you gave up a lead, and this was one step to what you've been working out for all the summer for a chance at an NBA title. But with that being said, you were up 3-1 against the best regular season team in the NBA ever. So I don't know. Maybe I think differently than Kevin Durant, but I would have said, you know what, Westbrook, we could beat them. Mm-hmm. If we fix we tweak just a little stuff, cut down the turnovers, share the ball more, and take smart shots, we could beat them. Yeah. And I feel as if if Kevin Durant would have stayed, it would have took a lot of pressure off of Westbrook because he has a lot of pressure on him now. But he's doing phenomenal.
No, he's doing amazing, but I feel like it is that amount of pressure that's forcing him to, like, he probably goes into every game where he's like, if I don't get a triple-double, we don't have a shot.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's unfortunate, but he's been doing a great job at it, you know? I like to think they would be up near the top, but I don't think they would ever. I couldn't see them getting to that point where they would be the top because you see so many teams now in the league doing super teams, exactly like what Golden State's doing, and unfortunately, what the Cavaliers are trying to do with what they did with Love and Kyrie, what LeBron did with Bosh and Wade. You know, them the Cavaliers trying to bring in Melo are the reports, but there's a lot of teams that are trying to do these super team things and. All these other teams that aren't attempting to do it are just getting left behind, and it's making the game kind of hard to watch. It's hard to watch the Timberwolves go up against a super team. Granted, they have very good players, but they're not going to win. Like, there's not a competition. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. This leads me into the last thing of this show. If you had to pick one player to start a team, who would you pick right now?
Right now?
This is much like in 2K or any video game where you do like a fantasy draft. You know, whatever pick you get. You got the number one overall pick. You got the whole NBA. Who are you taking? Keep in mind age. Keep in mind, you know, future salary issues. These are all things that you literally have to take into account. So, what would you do?
It would have to be a toss-up. If it didn't come down to age, obviously LeBron.
Oh, yeah.
But because he's getting up there, even though it looks like he's not even slowing down, it looks like he's speeding up.
Yeah.
But I would have to say a toss-up between the best players in the league right now, James Harden or Russell Westbrook.
That was my top. Now, we both agree on that those are the top two right now in the league. Mm-hmm. Which one would you take? I know in my head who I would take.
I would take Westbrook. You would probably take.
I'm taking Harden.
James Harden.
I'll take Harden.
I was thinking James Harden, but the thing that got me is that defense. That's the only thing.
I can see that. I can get behind that.
Everything else is just.
And I don't know what it is, but for some reason, when I look at Russell Westbrook, and I did pick Harden, but when I look at Russell Westbrook, I see a killer. I see somebody that plays the game with just such intense passion that it's almost hard to bet against him. You know, even if you know he's going to lose, it's like one of those games where you're like, maybe, you know, if Westbrook has a day, you never know.
He's like a little chihuahua, you know, a feisty chihuahua that always picks on the big, like, you know.
He's nipping at the ankles, but eventually he's going to bring him down.
Yeah.
So that's about it. That's all I got for this show, I think. Baseball, the teams have reported, but nothing really intense has been going on. Hockey is always. They're just kind of doing, you know. They're going through the whole season as well. Maybe next time when Elijah's here, we'll get into something else. But for now, I think that ends the what are we calling the show? We're just spitballing here. That's what we're calling it. We're just spitballing here, folks. So for Just Spitballing, I am Harry Hancock, and with me is Dan Corbett.
Take care, y'all.
Have a nice day, everybody. Be sure to tune in for any other shows that we got on our DVU podcast. If you have any questions or concerns, Facebook us or Twitter us. We are the Podcast Club at Del Val. Thank you all for listening, and see y'all later.